You want to support Roland Martin Unfiltered? Be sure to join our Bring the Funk fan club. Every dollar that you give to us supports our daily digital show. There's only one daily digital show out here that keeps it black and keep it real. As Roland Martin Unfiltered. Support the Roland Martin Unfiltered daily digital show by going to RolandMartinUnfiltered.com. You can make this possible. This, of course, is the trial all eyes are going to be looking at. We're still, of course, waiting to see what the appeals court is going to decide here. But the reaction so far, I'm really not understanding 1,000 National Guard troops surrounding the courthouse. That really?
Yeah. Apparently they had all these extra National Guard troops because they weren't at the Capitol on January 6th. I mean, it's really insulting that here we go again with another look at how institutionalized racism plays itself out in American society. It is an insult to Black people. And not to mention the whole travesty that brings us to this position to having to have that trial in the first place. And so I'm hoping that we will see a modicum of justice and see justice, period, at the end result of this trial. But once again, just looking at the history of this nation, unfortunately, I won't believe it until I see it.
That is the position many folks actually have, Clemmy, and that is, not much faith in seeing a prosecutor a police officer held accountable for their actions that resulted in the murder of George Floyd.
So I have to agree with you, Roland. I certainly agree with my esteemed panelists. There is a very long history of not holding police officers accountable, and we have to sort of take a step back to see what's happening here. To challenge a police officer is to challenge the sovereign power of the state, right? The state has the power to police the body. The state empowers police officers to kill. This is a system that, while framed around the murder of George Floyd, dates all the way back to racial slavery and colonialism. So it's important that we sort of understand that. So when we see these 1,000 members of the National Guard that are there, they are not there ultimately to sort of ensure that justice is there. They're sort of continuing a long tradition of racism when it comes to policing the Black body. But more importantly, it is this notion that somehow or another Black folk are the problem, not the individual Chauvin who's in the courthouse on trial. And we certainly saw that when it came down to preparing for the security of the state, of the nation's capital, that they were completely underprepared. But when you go back to the Black Lives Matter movement protests in DC during the summer, you had more than one could estimate in terms of National Guard presence, in terms of coordination with local police and Capitol Police. It is very clear that when it comes to a police response, racism is absolutely in play in this trial, as it has been across time and space when it comes to policing Black and brown people.
Julianne.
Amanda Gorman, the brilliant young sister who gave that wonderful poem at the inauguration, was profiled outside her apartment building, I believe yesterday or the day before. The police officer said she was a threat. She's a little bitty girl, about 5'2". I don't see how she could be perceived as a threat. But this is a differential perception of what a threat is.
Oh, I'm sorry,
Excuse me?
Julianne, go ahead.
White boys with clubs and swords and shields are not perceived as a threat as they storm the Capitol. But a little bitty Black girl, one day an icon, and she's one day an icon, and next day a threat. The differential perception of threat is always going to put Black people at a disadvantage. So to have 1,000 National Guards people there, to do what? Black people have not been out of line or out of order. They have orderly protested. So what we see here, again, is the way that our system is set up against Black people. Now, the other thing, Roland, that we need to basically deal with is a notion that Keith Ellison is one of the most brilliant attorneys that I know. He is absolutely off the chain. He rejected the notion of a third-degree murder charge because it's a lesser charge. Now the judge says they want them to consider that. Why do you want to go? You got first degree, you got second degree, third degree. That's, I won't say it's a slap on the wrist. You still can serve jail time, but again, you're devaluing Black life. And this is why you have people say Black lives matter, because every time you basically collide with the judicial system, you're devaluing Black life. So I hope that, as we all do, that there is justice here, but I also hope that this is an opportunity, again, to look inward and say, what is wrong with this system that a man can put his knee on somebody's neck for almost 9 minutes, 8 minutes and 45 seconds, and and smirks throughout it, and has no remorse, has never apologized. This is not his life was not in danger. He is just a murderer, period, end of conversation.
Well, again, jury selection is underway. The judge says it will resume tomorrow, depending upon what the court says. And so we'll be paying attention to that to see exactly what takes place. Again, folks, if you want to keep up with what's going on in Minneapolis in the Derek Chauvin trial, all you got to do is stay tuned to Roland Martin Unfiltered. We'll be live streaming the jury selection throughout. And so we simply just come to our YouTube channel all throughout the day. Set your notifications so when we go live from Minneapolis, you will be notified. All right, folks, back to our Roland Martin Unfiltered video in just one moment.
It's time to be smart. When we control our institutions, we win. This is the most important news show on television of any racial background. Y'all put $2, $3, $4, $5, $10, $15, $20, $30 on this and keep this going. What you've done, Roland, since this crisis came out in full bloom. Anybody watching this, tell your friends. Go back and look at the last 2 weeks, especially of Roland Martin Unfiltered. I mean, hell, go back and look at the last 2 days. You've had sitting United States senators today, Klobuchar and Harris. Whatever you have that you can bring to Roland Martin Unfiltered to support it, please do, because this information may literally save your life.
Watch Roland Martin Unfiltered daily at 6 p.m. Eastern on YouTube, Facebook, or Periscope, or go to RolandMartinUnfiltered.com. Support the Roland Martin Unfiltered Daily Digital Show by going to RolandMartinUnfiltered.com. Our goal is to get 20,000 of our fans contributing $50 each for the whole year. You can make this possible. RolandMartinUnfiltered.com.